Welcome to the Shoulda Bet More podcast presented by Gold Boys. Coming up on the show, Alex B. Smith of the Ice Guys podcast will join us, and we will break down a Game 7 of the NHL Stanley Cup Final. I said, hey, if it goes 7, got to bring a guest on to talk about it, so we will do just that. And hey, honestly, dead of summer, can use it. Can use the content. NBA was a bust just in terms of the interest, not just the final, but the whole playoffs. But the NHL, I'm into it. I don't know that I don't think I've watched a game start to finish, not only this year in a long time, but I think I'll probably watch this one every minute of it. Just the juice of a 3-0 comeback on the brink of a historic comeback in terms of the Oilers, a situation where Canada hasn't won the cup in a while. So there's definitely some juice in this. And Edmonton, look, I'm not a huge hockey guy, but Edmonton seems like the better team the last 3 games. They've dominated these last 3 games, and you always want to be cautious that you're victim to what you've seen last. But it does seem like Edmonton's going to win the title and pull this off. So anytime it's a Game 7, hockey, basketball, I look towards the under. I just think everyone comes out tight, conservative. The under has gotten juice now, where depending on when you look, -145, there's some -150. So shop around, I'd still take the under. This is why you have to bet this earlier rather than later. If you like the over, just wait as long as possible because I think the under will continue to get hit. Maybe you bet the first period under, but I think Edmonton wins a close, low-scoring game. I had a feeling they'd force a Game 7 once it got to 3-2. So I think they get it done, and I think they win. And we'll see what Alex Smith thinks about that in a couple of minutes. So we'll talk about the hockey with him. Excited for that Game 7 on Monday here. Quickly, we'll do some baseball and some draft. Ben Wilson was on, and our guests have done an incredible job. I should mention, too, Scott Seidenberg was on last week, said, hey, I don't care what happens. McDavid's got a good shot to win this. Conn Smythe, he was plus money at the time. Now he's -3,000. So they're telling you no matter what happens, McDavid's going to win this award. Good call by him. And another good call, Ben Wilson was on maybe 2-3 weeks ago. We did briefly NBA draft stuff, and he suggested Donovan Clingan at 15-1 to be the first pick of the draft. And not only that, he said, I wouldn't be surprised by the time the draft rolls around. This is like a toss-up, even money both ways. He's pretty damn close, depending on where you look. And I don't have this in Connecticut, but just looking at some other places, Clingan is under 2-1, where Risachet is now like -170, -180. Klingen's +140, +150. So not quite a toss-up, but it's pretty much there where I guess this kid Sar's out of the mix. He's going to go second. It's pretty widely believed that he's going to go second. Now, you never know with this draft stuff, with smoke screens, and maybe Sar goes first and it's smoke screen the whole time. Wouldn't be the first or last time we've been lied to about this stuff. Remember a few years ago, there was confusion. There's always a little bit of, misdirection with this stuff, at least the possibility of misdirection. But it sounds like Klingan is very live here to go and be the first pick in the draft. Hawks are a weird team in terms of picking first because they think they could be a playoff team next year. I mean, they were a conference finals team. That's a few years ago now, but they've been a playoff team. They were in the playoffs a year ago where they lost to Boston, had a bad year this year after trading for Murray a couple years ago. So look, you got Murray, you got Young. It's kind of, can't call them a win now team because they're not actually a contender, but they're thinking, hey, we get things to break right. We have a good offseason. No reason we can't be like the 5 or 6 seed. Then we win around. Then who knows? They're probably thinking, hey, why can't we be this year's Indiana? That's probably what they're thinking. Not that that's going to happen, but so that changes the mindset. That changes the calculus where Klingen's at least a guy you can plug and play. You know what he's going to give you, even if he's never going to be a star or an all-star, which I don't think he will be. Just doesn't have that kind of game. Klingen come in, rebound, protect the rim. He's going to struggle playing in space. I don't know how his game translates, but you at least have a skill set with Klingen where you know what he's going to give you. So maybe there is some intrigue, and I guess it's pretty much a toss-up right now where I think the reports are that the Hawks want to trade Klingen, but ideally they'd like to trade down and draft Klingen. But I don't know that you could do that because I guess the Rockets are at 3 and the Rockets have some interest in Klingen. So we'll see, but good call by Ben Wilson. Hopefully people tailed along there. So that's the draft. That is Wednesday, and they're doing a 2-part draft Wednesday. And now the second round will be on Thursday, which I think is good because it used to be the draft. There's enough to stretch it out where they would have the end of the draft to be going till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday night, Friday morning on the East Coast. There's no need to cram it into one night. There's enough to drag it into 2 nights. This isn't the year to do it, ideally, just because it's not a great draft to begin with. It's not even a good draft to begin with, but we will be looking at a 2-parter. I do think that makes sense. Wednesday and Thursday. I do believe it starts Wednesday, which is unusual. Usually Thursday. I thought they do it Thursday into Friday. I guess they're just trying to avoid the Friday night, which is typically a bad TV night. So that's the NBA draft, the hockey. Baseball here. The Yankees lose 2 out of 3, but gain ground on Baltimore. As just take an overview of all these races. Baltimore struggles with the pitching. Houston has come back to life here. Houston and Texas now only 5 back in the loss of Seattle. So maybe not so fast. Seattle running away with that division. They struggled a little bit against the Marlins this weekend. The Mariners did. So keep an eye on that. The Yankees in Baltimore, that's going to be a race I think we update all summer. And the Yankees have some issues now. I talked about it the other day. And since then, Stanton's gotten hurt. They did trade for JD Davis. It's funny. If they could have, if Jason Dominguez was healthy, he would be an option to call up and you just plug him in outfield DH and he could substitute for Stanton. And the way he played last year, maybe you wouldn't miss Stanton that much. But Dominguez is hurt. So the Yankees are dealing with some injury issues. Bullpen, Stanton, Dominguez. So they're going to have to hang on here. They have not played well. They did get a very important win on Saturday where Stroman pitched a good game. Not a great game, but a good game. Stabilized things. The Braves starting to look like the Braves a little bit. So you just look around. Yankees and Orioles is a competitive race. Yankees are actually behind in the loss column, but do have a game and a half lead just because they've played extra games and they won them all. Cleveland looks poised to run away with the Central. They're now up to a 9-game lead in the loss column. I'm recording this early Sunday evening, so one or two of these games might still be in progress, but you get the idea. Cleveland in good shape in the AL Central. The West, I mentioned, the Mariners have a 5-game lead in the loss column over the Rangers and the Astros. Seattle's in a similar situation to the Yankees where they played extra games and they won them. So they're up 6.5 on both of them. But just keep an eye that Houston, Texas. Now, Texas got Scherzer back and maybe DeGrom back down the road. So Texas is kind of an under-discussed champion that doesn't get really mentioned, thought about a lot. But who knows? Maybe they're not left for dead. Same about Houston. Atlanta now within 6 in the loss column of Philly. Atlanta's played much better this last week or so. You figure they would at some point. Philly's still in good shape there, but keep an eye on that one. Milwaukee is 4 games in the loss ahead of the Cardinals. Cardinals played pretty well. So keep an eye on that, not only in terms of the race, but the Cardinals might have guys that teams are interested. Goldschmidt, the closer, a few of these players. Well, hey, if they're only a few games out and that's a team that likes to always be good. They're almost like the Steelers of baseball. They always like to be competitive. They always like to be around the playoffs. They might not be so quick to sell if they continue to play well. So keep an eye on that. And Dodgers, despite the injuries, despite everything, they're up 9 in the loss column on the Padres. They are going to be fine. They're going to win that division going away. So maybe some of these races tighten up. I thought a few days ago, a week ago, hey, you could be looking at a scenario where if Seattle pulls away, if the Brewers pull away, you're only looking at Yankees and Orioles in terms of the races, and every other division leader could run and hide. So some of these have tightened up. We will keep an eye on those as the summer progresses. But coming up next, it is hockey. Game 7. First Game 7 since 2019. Only the third Game 7 in the NHL Stanley Cup Final since 2011. I think it was Bruins Canucks in 2011 and Bruins Blues in 2019 with the Blues winning on the road. So we'll see what happens here. Oilers, Panthers. We'll see what Alex B. Smith thinks. That is next. This is a Shoulda Bet More podcast. All right, we are back. Shoulda Bet More podcast. You can catch him on the Ice Guys podcast where he does a great job, and he joins us now. He is Alex B. Smith. Alex, thanks for coming on. I don't know if you've heard this, but we got a Game 7 on Monday.
Yeah, we do. It's something that I definitely didn't see coming out. I think a lot of people were expecting this, especially when we saw Florida take a commanding 3-0 lead. It's been interesting, and this is some compelling hockey, something that a lot of us have obviously never seen before. The last time that we've even seen a chance for a team to come back from 3-0, Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals before the World War II was over with. So definitely some history could possibly be made one way or the other in Game 7 on Monday night.
I think the natural question for just casual hockey fans, maybe even non-casual hockey fans, is one team's up 3-0 and now it's 3-3. Like, what happened after Game 3 to let Edmonton get back in this series? Is it a fundamental change? Is it a strategy? Is it an injury? Is it just a fact that Edmonton's playing much better these last few games?
Well, I would definitely say a fundamental change, and you look at the aspect of where Edmonton trusting back into their speed, finding ways to get into the middle of the ice in the attacking zone. And that's something that was Florida's biggest strength throughout the postseason, was taking away those opportunities to create great offensive chances and create those scoring chances. Once Edmonton was able to establish their positioning in the attacking zone and get these open lanes, that's where McDavid's able to find these open passes. Zach Hyman's able to finish goals. Connor Brown able to get these 2-on-1s with shorthanded opportunities. They're able to score goals that way. So these opportunities are starting to open up now. And it seems like maybe there's some fatigue on Florida, and it could be some injury, possibly. That's some things that, we're kind of wondering about now. as well heading into Game 7, especially with Sergei Bobrovsky in that.
And I think you have some tickets on this, but let's just pretend you had nothing and you're going into this game with no tickets, which I think a lot of people listening, and at least some people listening probably are in that case where, hey, I want some action on Game 7. Let's just look at the side first. It's basically a toss-up. Panthers are minus 115. If you like the Oilers, it's minus 105. Who do you like in terms of the side?
Yeah, if I have no tickets at all, no other issues, anything or heading into the game, the only way I would be looking would be Edmonton because of just the way that you've been seeing how Florida has played. Their breakdowns the last 3 games have just been really noticeable, especially I'd say the last 2 games have been the biggest glaring issues for me, where they just have not been able to press when needed. They're not able to set up quality entry into Edmonton zone. That first period in Game 6, where they got 3 shots on goal, they just didn't have any pushback, any life offensively. They were trying to jump and chase, but they weren't finishing their checks even when they were entering the zone. They weren't able to get clean passes going. They just looked discombobulated. And to come out with that lifeless of an effort in that spot just shows me that Edmonton has the mental edge now, and they have the physical edge, and they said they might just have a bit more energy as well.
How about the total here? 5.5. The Game 7 under trend has been a popular one. It's been a profitable one. Of course, you can always get beat with late empty netters. Things can happen. Would you look to attack the under, whether it's full game under, first period under? What are your thoughts here on the total?
It's tough. No, like I said, normally we all just kind of look nearly automatically at the under in Game 7, but with this spot, the way that Edmonton's playing, they're playing like an over team, and the game going in their direction would lean to the over. Florida wants to play an under game, but that's not working for them. They're not able to generate enough offense when needed to grind out a 3-2 win. So for them to get a victory here, they have to open the game up. So the only way I can look here would be over at 5.5. If you like the under, maybe you see some pace early and score 2-0 or it's tied 1-1. You try and look for an under live at a larger number and knock that down. But at 5.5, I have to look over or nothing at all.
Yeah, and at 5.5 now, at least I'm looking at one book. I'm looking at DraftKings. That 5.5 is juiced big time to the under minus 155. Or I know some books opened it just minus 110 both ways, and it seems like it's been nothing but under money. They usually don't want to tick it down to 5, where people can bet the over 5 and under 5.5 and kind of get middled. But I don't know if maybe this closes. Would you think this closes 5 in some spots?
I don't know. 5. I mean, we haven't seen a 5 flat in a long time. That's I don't know. That would be something I can't imagine that though. I think it'd be enough balance both ways.
First goal scorer. I don't know if you get involved with these markets, but people like this. Bet a little to win a lot. Hyman's the short shot plus 950. Reinhart 10-1. McDavid 10-1. Draisaitl 11-1. Verhaeghe 12-1. Kachuk 12-1. Barkov 17-1. And I can list other guys if you're interested. Anyone you have in mind here, first goal scorer that's worth a shot.
I mean, Zach Heinrich said he's the short shot, but it's for good reason. He's a guy who I've cashed a few of these tickets with during the regular season, around the 12-1, 15-1 price earlier in the year. So there's a reason that number has been knocked down, but I would still look in his direction. Anything in the 850 plus 900, even the 10-1 range, definitely worth a shot. I could see him opening things up for the Oilers.
Anybody else cross your mind, interest you, semi-interest you?
Maybe Evan Rodriguez as well. He's been the leading goal scorer for Florida, so he's a guy that I could definitely see maybe lead things off. If he can start getting something rolling, some of that secondary scoring needs to really get things going. Him and Carter Verhaeghe are 2 guys that could get things moving for Florida if they want to go in the right direction.
Yeah, and Verhaeghe's 12-1. You said Evan Rodriguez was the other one?
Yeah, those are the 2.
25-1 on
Florida.
Evan Rodriguez. So
okay,
I'll have to play one of these.
Decent.
McDavid now minus 3,000 for Conn Smythe. Let me just paint a scenario where Florida wins this game. I don't know, 4-0, 5-0, 5-1. Are they still giving it to McDavid no matter what?
Yeah, I still do. Even if it's a 5-0, 50 save performance for Bobrovsky, I still don't think that's enough to salvage him. McDavid has done enough where he's close to Gretzky's record. Even if he gets 2 assists and a goal and a loss, he's still going to be getting the Conn Smythe Trophy at this point. That's the reason why it's minus 3,000.
So nobody else is worth a bet here?
No, not at this point.
Yeah. Anything else you like to play? I know you message me some of these markets sometimes. Is there anything else you bet that I've missed here? Sometimes you like to play like a third period total. Sometimes you like to play these props. You get clever with these props. And anything you're interested in here that I haven't mentioned?
Yeah, and I usually do play that like the third period over, which is at 2. I usually like to do that for elimination games. But that's something at this point, because of like I said, we're kind of wishy-washy on the total, so to speak. Like I said, I do like over 5.5. So maybe if I don't play over 5.5 for the full game, I'll just look to play over 2. It did cash for me in the last contest, and it pushed in the game before. So I more than likely will end up being on that if it's at plus 100, plus 105.
How about overtime? I know you like to bet overtime sometimes. I think it's under regulation. You just bet the draw for regulation. Looking around
Yeah,
3-1. That doesn't seem like a lot, but you figure decent chance it's a close game. Is that enough for you, or that's something that doesn't really interest you?
no, I mean, during the season, we're usually looking for plus 350 to even around, plus 400. So, and we haven't seen that many overtimes in this postseason. I don't think we're going to see one here in Game 7, so I wouldn't be on that tonight.
All right, man. How pumped are you for this game?
I'm excited that it's coming to an end. I want my summer to start. I want to get a little rest in before football starts. But no, obviously, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, you don't get to see it too often. So I will certainly be excited once the game starts, and you get a beer cracked in front of you, right in front of the TV. I'll be ready, like every other hockey fan.
What's a prediction here? Final score and who wins?
I'm gonna go with my futures here. I I want Florida to win. I want Florida to win. So I want Florida 5-2. But what do I think is really going to happen? It's going to be something crazy. Edmonton wins 4-2.
Edmonton 4-2. This would be
Yeah,
this. Do you remember what the series price was? Not that anybody, or at least I didn't think to even look when it was 3-0. Do you know what the longest series price was when it was 3-0?
I think I saw 20-1,
That's
maybe
about
like
right.
25-1. Yeah,
Yeah. That's I mean, at the time you're thinking, man, 3-0, historic thing, 20-1's not long enough, but that's certainly one you'd like to have in your pocket now.
no, and I mean, and I'm sitting there. I have plus 9-1 from back in March on Florida to win the cup. I grabbed Bobrovsky plus 450 somewhere around the conference final time. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm already planning what I'm going to do with the money
Yeah.
essentially, and here we are now.
When did you start to get nervous? After was the 8-1 in game 4 enough to make you nervous, or did you need to see them, lose game 5, fall behind in game 5, that kind of thing?
The 8-1 made me nervous about Vasilevsky with the Conn Smythe. And then the next loss made me nervous about Florida as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
at 3-1, it's different than the other sports, although basketball home court didn't hold up as much. It's just these things can turn quickly where at
Yeah.
3-0 it feels over, but at 3-2 it's like, oh, we're back in it. And I just look, I'm a casual hockey fan, but at 3-2 I definitely felt like Edmonton was going to force a game 7, and I don't know, I kind of feel like Edmonton's holding it up, so I don't know. It should be fun though.
And that's the thing, and that's the way I like to attack playoff series. I kind of missed the boat on this, where even though having my Florida position, I should have at least looked for Florida to win in 6 and had that in pocket, knowing that there possibly could have been a game 5 win from Edmonton. So I could have had that position where at least I would have been, looking at Florida plus 320 something instead of where Florida I think was minus 110. So that's the kind of things I try to look for in attacking playoff series. So where sometimes I don't have to worry about the winner, especially like a few series ago, I've been looking at these 6-game, 7-game series stacks where you can, ensure yourself some profit as long as the series goes, past game 5. So there's other ways to attack the postseason, get some money out where you don't have to sweat and wait for the team to win the series or win a cup.
Yeah, and look, you got 9-1 on Florida. You can't be beating yourself up too much. They were up 3-0.
No,
So I
right.
mean, who's thinking at
Yeah.
3-0 they're going to blow it or it's going to go 7? So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I don't know,
that's
man. It
true.
should be fun. I know I was messaging with you earlier. You said a couple months till you get started, or you're going to get started soon here on football. And we got like 6 weeks to the preseason, so I'll be here before you know anything. You're thinking of betting at any sort of early looks, or you just need to dig in.
No, I just need to dig in. This is a it's the approach I'm taking a little differently the last few years, and it's worked where I just kind of clean slate everything, just read up as much as possible, get the Phil Steele guide, and mark everything down with college football, and then like I said, wait for training camps to open in the NFL. So, preseason a little different now as they took that 1 week away, so I don't do that as much. I just kind of get ready more to attack the regular season.
What is your process of getting ready for football season like?
Like I said, just doing a lot of reading. Making sure I'm following the right beat writers and stuff with Twitter. Like Twitter's your best friend, especially if you're trying to bet preseason, getting those notes, knowing what the coaches are saying, know what the quarterback rotations are, and getting those things. So those little things like that, and that's what the summertime's kind of for, just kind of strategizing and getting everything set up for that. And then that makes everything easier for once the season starts, and then I can start reading and get ready for hockey, which rolls right into the back of that and into September into October.
Yeah, and preseason, I don't know how long you've been in preseason, but the numbers move so quickly on the information. It's not like, it used to be, hey, this team's going to play their starters and they're getting three. Well, they'll be getting three for, a day or two, and you have plenty of time to bet it. Now it's like once the word is out, it's like unless you're like logged in, it moves so quickly. And there's a couple groups that release plays and release stuff, so that's just as soon as they breathe on it, it steams through the roof.
Well, and it's crazy too, and thankfully, when you have modern technology and stuff like I have clients, I still have a private service, so having things like Telegram, where like if I get information, I can send it to them
Yeah.
right away. But I'm like, you guys got to be ready too, because it
Yes.
could be 10 a.m. on a Monday morning, and then we have to hit this number, and we have 10 minutes to do it. So
Yeah, I know a lot of people will be like, "Hey, warning, I'm giving out a play in like 10 minutes, be ready." And then like, "Here you go." And they give a countdown because like even if
yep,
you're on top of it and hey ready to go, it'd be like, "Hey, Detroit Lions +3," and you go to bet it and you get that little spinny thing, and it's 2.5, then it's two, then it's whatever
yep.
-120. Yeah, you know how it goes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Alex, appreciate it, man. Got to do this again. I'll let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, follow me on X. I still call it Twitter, but it's X at AX Smith Sports. Also check out the Ice Guys podcast over at YouTube and on all podcast platforms. Also follow that on X at _Ice Guys.
Alex, appreciate some time here. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks, Will.
All right, that will do it. Thank you to Alex B. Smith. Enjoy Game 7. We will be back Wednesday as the NBA draft is just a couple days away. Probably spend some time on that. Rate, review, subscribe. See you Wednesday.